Spring flowers are here. Bring the beauty indoors and save some money while you're at it by making your own flower arrangements. We caught up with florist Sylvia Burgess at the 65th Annual Macy's Flower Show in San Francisco, where she shares some simple tips for the do-it-yourselfer.
Find your inspiration. Maybe you're having a dinner party and you have special dishes that you want to use. Maybe there's a flower that you really love. Or maybe you're having Japanese food and you want to do a Japanese style. Find great containers and use something other than a vase. I went to Chinatown and got all these wonderful teapots. There's lots of different places you can get containers, and think outside of the box. The flea market, even a hardware store can be fun. It's always great to find something locally because the price point is better, and you want to select flowers in the same way that you select produce. You want to look for unfaded flowers, you want to look for strong stems, and if they have greenery on them, you want to make sure that the greenery is really rich looking, and just like you would look for a head of lettuce. When you're cutting the flowers, you want to make sure it's just the stems that are in water and not any of the greenery, because what happens with the greenery is that you get a fermentation in the water, and if you want to keep your water clean, add a little bit of bleach, or you can go to your local florist and you can get a combination of an antibacterial packet with a little bit of sugar in it, and that's going to keep your flowers fresh. If you have the time and the energy to change your flower water every couple of days, that's a bonus too, because you'll definitely have them last longer. I find if you're doing it yourself, you're not a professional florist, the easiest thing to do is get a mass of one sort of flower. Lilac smells delicious, you can get a big bunch of it, and everyone likes getting that. Also, blossom branches, cherry blossoms, apple blossoms, pear blossoms. They're big, they're dramatic, they last a long time, and you can pop them in a big vase and put it in your living room, on your mantle, wherever it's going to look dramatic. Here what I'm doing is just clustering in this low pot roundish flowers. And I think when you're doing flowers, it's always good to take the size of the container into consideration and the shape. So here, it's a low kind of round shape, and I'm making the flowers the same. And then in these tall vases, or little bottles that I purchased, I'm going to do a tall sort of willowy flower, Gerber daisy. Now what you're going to find with Gerber daisies is that they kind of bend, and that's okay. It gives them personality. If you're looking for a flower that lasts a long time and isn't too expensive, these Vanda orchids are really great. And there's something that'll last for, gosh, up to 3 weeks. The other thing that's actually very reasonable are roses. A lot of the roses are coming from Ecuador, and they have beautiful varieties. They open up really well, and they last for sometimes 2 weeks. When you have roses, you want to strip, and you can do it with a knife, or you can even do it with your clippers, and that makes them easier to use when you first come home and you want to, what I call, condition your flowers. The other thing that's good to do is to cut your flowers on an angle, and this way what happens is they don't sit flat in your container in the water, and they have room to have the water go up through the stem. Go down to your garden center or your local nursery and get a good pair of shears. Florists like to use a florist knife, but I think for the average person it's just much easier to use shears. And make sure that you keep them clean so that you're not getting bacteria from one flower to the next, and keep them sharpened. Anything goes now. There aren't any strict rules. For my own personal design, I like blocks of color. I like taking an orange hue and doing, a golden orange, and doing a tangerine. And I like to bring fruit into my table decor because that adds another texture, and it also brings your color down to the table.